Update on the three guys that obviously were banged up before and during the Missouri game. The two guys with the knees are fine. Justin's thumb, he got some tests run on him yesterday. He's got more. Actually, he's in there right now getting tests done at the doctor's office. I don't want to guess right now. I'm sure we'll put out something later on today or tomorrow with more clarity. If he was a football player, what they call they club it, and he'd play the rest of the year, and they'd fix it after the year. But it looks like it's going to need surgery to get repaired. So we're trying to figure out how to manage that moving forward.
Frank, obviously with Justin, if he does have to miss an extensive amount of time, how much does that change your rotations, your defensive plans?
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the equation when you coach basketball at South Carolina. There's a large cloud that sits over this campus that constantly just craps on you anytime your team plays well, and it's not under me. Go backwards, just keep going. It's unbelievable, But you can't sit around and dwell on the good, bad, the indifferent. You gotta actually manage adversity and handle what's in front of you. Justin was becoming the like he was playing with such incredible energy. And when you coupled his energy and his aggression at the rim, rebounding, blocking shots, his defense, helping and defending on the perimeter, and he was starting to shoot the basketball. He was starting to regain that confidence that he had from a shooting standpoint. There's a reason he was playing as many minutes as he played. But we because of his efforts, we've become a better team, and so it's going to put the two freshmen and Jalen, Wildens, and Alonzo. They're going to have to be more consistent with their contributions, and then I got to figure out, from a guard standpoint, I'm perfectly fine. Trey Anderson has been better, like I told you guys. So maybe it's his turn to step in there and give us some positive minutes and positive plays. But I'm always into trying to move forward. My heart goes out to Justin because I don't think I've been around too many guys that care about their team as much as he cares about our team. And so hopefully we can figure out a way to keep him on the court. But that's not a decision for me to make. That's a decision that has to be made between doctors and himself and his family.
Questions?
Is that a Marlins hat back there?
It is.
Were you at the Super Bowl?
I just flew back in.
Wow.
Frank, AJ's obviously played pretty well as of late. How good is that to see from him, given the fact that you've been so complimentary of him over the past few weeks? And what have you seen from him on the defensive side of things?
Just playing with joy and enthusiasm. He went through a period of time there where it just seemed like he just wasn't enjoying. He just didn't enjoy being out there. And as a coach, you're okay with guys making mistakes, and you even got to figure out a way to manage losing games. But when guys that have been through it before, all of a sudden, we kind of dealt with what Coach are last year. The joy for competing kind of goes out the window. As a coach, that's what worries you. And, freshmen kind of get beat up because of how difficult every day is. They're not used to it, so they eventually hit a wall. Knock on wood, these freshmen have been good that way up to this point. But it was as a coach, you don't want to see players go through that. If they're missing shots, things of that nature, they just got to work. They got to get out. They can't get in their feelings, and they got to just keep pushing forward. But when guys kind of lose their joy for competing, that's for a coach, that's troubling because something's not right. But we've all had numerous talks with him. His teammates have been great with him. And he's starting to have that joy for competing. You're starting to see a smile on his face. You're starting to see a little pep in his step on the basketball court. I think Jermaine has a lot to do with that. I really do. Jermaine's an uplifting teammate. And like I've told you guys, if you don't do what you're supposed to do, he's going to let you know about that one too. And I think AJ's really appreciating that Jermaine has taken on that responsibility.
On the same lines, you said in the past about you can't figure out if guys have that thing that Jermaine has until they get here. But what did you sense from him on the recruiting trail at all? Obviously, he came from the Indiana side of Chicago, kind of a rougher neighborhood. What did you get a sense from him that he had that background, maybe as opposed to other guys?
Yeah, you have to trust in people that have coached him. You have to trust in your conversations with him. I thought our conversations with him was not about what can you do to help me be a pro. It was about I want to win, and I want to get better, and I just want a chance. I need somebody to believe in me. That's what our conversations with him were about. And then you go back to the recruiting part of it. We recruited him in his time at Montverde, and Kevin Boyle and I have been friends for a long time. Kevin Boyle's assistant, two assistants, are dear friends of Chuck's. So we got truthful opinions of what he was about. And so you have a hunch that he fits, like what we look for. And then when he came on his visit, I told you guys, we were awful. Missouri, actually, what do I call it, Missouri, we're down 20 the whole game. And there's no one in the building. And it was just a lifeless night of basketball in the Colonial Life Arena, from players to fans to that's what it was. And I left there saying, all right, we just messed this one up. We got no chance now. And 2 days later, we got a call. So I'm in. And so it's that told me a lot about him. He was about people, not about environments, not about publicity, not about social media attention. It was about people. And he felt there was a connection with the people, and he wanted to be a part of that. So when you have that kind of connection in an honest recruiting situation, that's usually one that grows once they get here, as long as you both sides keep it honest. And I think that's what's happened with him.
Coach, naturally it took Jalen and Levesque some time to get accustomed to the college game and the speed of things. How much has their growth and confidence and surge over these past couple of weeks helped with what you want to do in the front court, and how much have you seen them take more of an assertive role when they get their minutes out there?
Yeah, it's I'm really proud of those two guys because they've been thrown into the fire. And early on, neither one played really well. Wildens was the more aggressor of the two, but it's not like he was playing well. And neither one's pouted. They come in every day and they want to be coached. Jalen not practicing headed into the last game hurt him, but Jalen has really started to play well for us. Everyone pays attention to he's making free throws and he scored 6 points or whatever. That's the least of my concerns about him. It's defensively being in the right place, the rotations, knowing where to be on offense, getting to the right places. He was always in the wrong place, and he was always, when he figured out where to get to, it was time to get somewhere else. So he's worked really hard to to do those things. And not practicing hurt him as far as his timing and his repetition. But he should be fine at practice today and tomorrow. He felt real good yesterday. We didn't practice, but they came in to see the trainer. But I'm really proud of those two guys, man. Our freshman class, man, they're fun. Those kids. It's not like I've turned them loose from. I'm talking about true first-year freshmen, not redshirts like TJ and Jermaine. I really haven't turned them loose and said go and let's figure it out in games. We do that in practice, but they haven't pouted. They come in every day and they want to do more. They don't back down from a good day or a bad day. So those two guys have come on. You know, Wildens, you're starting to see his ball screen defense has gotten better. Still not where it needs to be, but it's gotten better. But you're seeing a presence defensively at the rim, blocking shots, changing shots. He's starting. He's a good free throw shooter. That's why he went through a stretch where he missed like 6 in a row. I have no idea why. He's a really good free throw shooter. But that's the mind, man. Plays tricks on you, man. You're going out there and you're going 100 miles per hour. All of a sudden you got to stand there, shoot a free throw. You got to know how to manage that, and he will. He will.
Just looking at Ole Miss, how big a challenge are those two guards trying to control them, trying to kind of corral them?
Yeah, the two guards, and then Evan Hinson's brother, Blake, who's just just like Evan, a ferocious competitor, and he can really shoot the basketball. It's going to be a hard guard. You know, dealing with those at home, they've been ridiculously good. You know, away from home, I'm not going to say they haven't been as good, but who is? But at home, they lost to Auburn up 20 with 12 minutes to play, lost in double overtime. Had LSU dead in the water and lost a heartbreaker at the end of the game. And they got another home in Arkansas, beat them the same way in a heartbreaker at the end of the game. So those are the 3 home conference losses, all of them. Arkansas was 76-72, LSU was 80-76, and Auburn was like 86-82 in double overtime. Those are 3 heartbreaking losses to 3 teams that are 3 of the better teams in the league. So it's that's where when I say we got to be careful how we judge the opponent based on. Let's just look at the record. Oh, they're 1-6 in league play, whatever it is. Easy win. Oh man, they're good, and at home they're really good. And so we've got to be really. Our ball screen defense has to be as good as it's been all year because those 2 guards are just coming at you every single play.
With Jermaine, it seemed like he was known more as a scorer, but before he got here, he told me that y'all wanted him really working on his point guard skills. What did you see in the recruiting process that made you think point guard, and then what's made him more successful at point guard here? Is it the intangible kind of things, or is it actual, traditional point guard type abilities?
He's an undercover, intelligent guy. I don't know if you understand what I mean by that. No one's ever challenged him mentally to prove, because, if your GPA is a 4.0, everyone says you're intelligent. If your GPA is a 2.6, he's not very smart. If your SATs are 1,400, oh, God, Ivy League. Your SATs are 860, he ain't very smart. See, he comes from what I come from. And when you're in those environments, academically, people don't challenge you. They just try to get you through. And that's what I mean by undercover intelligent guy. No one's ever made him understand how intelligent he really is outside of his family. And he's starting, I think this started for him at prep school when he went to Montverde. His ability to understand, to learn, to make decisions is pretty darn good. And what do you want from point guards? I told one of our players on the court the other day, I'm not interested in you memorizing the book. I need you to learn from the book. And the book is what we do every day over the course of the year. This season will have a book. If you just memorized it, you cheated yourself. It's Jermaine learns from the book. Jermaine learns every single day, and his intelligence is what, as you get around him and you start feeling that. One thing is watching, another thing is when you're around him, you realize you got to give him more responsibility. And guys that are intelligent, that are able to make decisions real quick and are not scared to make the decision, because the other thing is you got to have courage and conviction in what you believe in. Some guys, they're very intelligent, but they don't want to go make that decision, so they're passive. Jermaine don't care. It might be the right play, wrong play. He don't care. And when you coach him, whether you put your arm around him or you let him have it, he doesn't pout. He listens and he understands and he deals with the moment and gets away from it. So he has a lot of good intangibles. If he continues to connect the dots, sky's the limit for him. He's a really good teammate, but his intellect is what's, that's why I was so frustrated last year, because he didn't deserve to go through what he went through, because I knew he was more than capable to do really good schoolwork. But you can't. We can replay our favorite songs. We can't replay the previous chapter in life. You just got to deal with it and move away from it, and he'll get better for that.
Frank, kind of a two-parter here. Just generally, when you get a freshman or a newcomer to your program in, he's got his shooting style that he's had for years. Do you guys ever tweak it or say this could be better? Or do you pretty much just leave him alone and say that's how he shoots?
After his freshman year, you got to understand, David, in the summer it's really difficult because you only get them for 2 hours a week. And you really don't get a feel for that. I can tell watching Jalen shoot the ball in high school that his technique wasn't real good. Like here, I'm going to use one, for example, 7th. The first day he took a jump shot in the summer, I was like, what happened? Because I saw him shoot a lot of balls in high school, and I don't remember it looking like that. So Chuck, more than me, I just talk with him. Chuck has put in a lot of time in helping him reconfigurate, for lack of better words, his jump shot. But we can do that because you don't have to play in games right now. You can't take a kid that shows up on campus and try to remake his whole shooting technique starting in September and expect them to have any confidence in November. So we just got to get this one to the finish line. But once their freshman season's over, then we'll spend the whole spring and summer, because now we've coached them. Now we really know. We know how they learn. They understand us. Here's the other thing. You tell a kid that shows up on your campus, your jump shot broke, man. They take that personal. They're like, what do you mean it's broke, man? Why didn't you tell me that when you recruited me? And so it takes a little time. I had a guy a lot like Jalen called Jamar Samuels. His name is Jamar Samuels at K-State. He used to shoot threes in high school, and I loved him. And every time he shoot one, I go like this. I'm like, oh, my God. And then he showed up on campus, and whoo. And when he shot, I said, don't do that. He's like, ah, but he wouldn't work on it. So I said, you don't work on it, man. Don't shoot it. And then we started after his freshman year redoing it, and his senior year became a real good three-point shooter for us.
And playing off of that, when a guy's been shooting or a team's kind of in a trend, specifically with free throws, how tough is it to stop during the middle of a season and say, maybe we could try this? Like, try to throw it in the white square and it'll go in. Try to get Rick Barry in here to teach the granny shot. How tough is it to try to switch everything midstream?
If we had like some miserable-looking free throws, like I don't know, remember Lakeem Jackson, like Brad Underwood. Brad said, Frank, you might. I said, do your thing, man. And Brad had him shooting with one hand, if you remember that. But I don't think technique's a problem with our guys. I really don't. The only one that has is Jalen. He's the only one that I would say that what he's doing is not real pretty. So Lakeem was a senior, so you can navigate through things with him a little differently. Then, Jalen being a freshman, like I said, he just has to he's been making them lately. I know he missed 2 the other day, but that's lack of practice and repetition. And both of them were right there. When I watch our guys shoot, I think our technique's pretty good. And like I said the other day, we're not missing left, right. We're not shooting them off the backboard. We're not shooting short air balls. Every shot's either off the front of the rim or off the back of the rim. And so that means everything's good. We just have to in practice, we make them. So we just have to get to that place where we just, we don't shoot a lot of free throws as a team either. I don't know if that makes sense what I just said. So, and I'm not trying to create problems for myself. We don't shoot a lot of free throws. So guys don't get to the line consistently enough, and that's on us. We're not we've gotten better, but we're not as aggressive at the rim as we need to be. So guys aren't getting to the line consistently enough, But Mike, last year, that same guy just made 7 of 10. I mean, putting him at the foul line, he wanted nothing to do with that. He couldn't wait to get off that foul line, and it's in the mind.
Frank, over the last couple of games, the defensive numbers have actually been pretty good. Seems like they're playing better defensively. What do you attribute that to? Is that guys just getting a little bit older and more comfortable in the system, or is there a tweak that you guys have made that made it a little bit better?
Just keep working, showing film. I'm still not completely happy with certain rotations, like when the people attack us in a certain place. We're not communicating as well as we need to, so we end up with 2 guys helping. And if you help with 2 guys, now you're shorthanded on the backside. And so we got to keep working. But we've been showing film, and I've been actually. I think I said this earlier in the year. I thought this team had a chance to be real good defensively. We're making up for our shot blocking by gapping people. So we're trying to keep the ball out of the paint a little harder. Like sometimes in the past, when you got a Chris Silva back there, even a guy like, if you remember Sidi Keita, or certain guys that we've had, I'd be okay with staying on the perimeter and just letting people try and beat us off the dribble because we had protection at the rim. Michael Carrera never got the credit for the rim protector he was, taking charges and blocking shots, because it's both. You got to combine the two. It's not just one or the other. And we really earlier this year our rim protection wasn't great, so we had to get more into gapping people. So try and keep the ball out of the paint. I think we've gotten better there, but we've also grown. Guys are starting to understand scouting reports, so they have a feel for what's coming based on where people are on the court. Those are all new concepts to freshmen. Freshmen just go guard their man. Yeah, I got him. And then they get annihilated because teams don't just play one-on-one, and then they don't, they make the decision to either, okay, I need help and learn and start understanding the importance of scouting report, or they just ignore it, and then they never play, and then people say, well, coach, don't play the freshman. I'm not going to play the guy I don't want to learn. And but I think we've gotten better there. And we've shown a lot of film on fouls. We were committing like some really bad fouls. And I think this last game is probably the best one we've had in a while where we didn't commit those silly fouls and put people on the foul line.
Frank, 5 of these last 6 games, you've had a different leading scorer. And I think in SEC play, well, Justin being one of them, but you got like 6 guys averaging at least 7 a game. I know going into the year, it was one question was trying to figure out where all these pieces fit. Do you feel like that balance has been struck, and was there a point where that was difficult at all earlier in the year, or it's kind of just played itself out?
I mean, when you've got an established scorer early in the year, it's easier for people to kind of eventually grow into their roles. When, and AJ was a guy that early in the year, I think he had some really good offensive games. But trying to figure out the balance of everyone else, and with young guys managing confidence, that means guys don't get the shots they're used to getting or missing when they're open, Now they kind of hang their head for a second, and now they're going to miss the next shot. And trying to manage all that is you got to overcome it eventually. And I think we're starting to overcome that. I thought we had multiple options from an ability to score. Like Jermaine has not really, outside of the Kentucky game, he has not had a good shooting year. And he's too good a shooter to shoot it as poorly as he has. We need him to continue to do, which is his step as a player, continue to do all the things he's doing, but now he's got to be able to make those open shots for us. You know, TJ's a really good shooter. For whatever reason, that ball won't go in for him. You know, but that's part of the deal, man. You can't give in. You know, Jair's our best shooter, and with Jair, it's not a matter of making shots. It's a matter of getting him to get better at the things that Jermaine is really good at, and so managing all that, trying to find balance. Me understand them, they understand me, learn to play with each other, understand our system, understand what things I can do to help guys catch the ball in spaces where they're comfortable so they can be aggressive. You don't learn that in practice, but you learn that in games. And, you know, you can practice stuff, but at the end of the day, when you're in practice, you're basically practicing against your own team, so you know what you're running, and you're basically playing against your defense 80% of the time. When people guard you differently, then you got to figure stuff out. And but I'm happy. It's kind of what I expected, that we had multiple options. You know, I think we're doing a better job with Mike. Had been, and then kind of both me and him kind of went in the tank for about 3 days, 3 games there. With him offensively, and then he played with a purpose against Arkansas, and he followed that up against Missouri. You know, we got him to his spots in that 15-foot range, and he made some shots, and then he got really aggressive at the rim. And contrary to previous years, when he'd be aggressive at the rim, he'd shy away from contact. This time he went through contact. He didn't finish, but he got himself to the foul line and made free throws. So it's. You know, we're still a work in progress, though. There's so many things that we have to do so much better right now.
You have Legends Weekend coming up later in the week. Just how happy are you with how much that event has grown since you started it? And in your experiences now that it's about 7 years in, midway through the SEC schedule, how much do you feel that helps the team kind of break up their routine a little bit and meet with guys that used to play here? Yeah,
I mean, to me, it's one of the favorite things I get to do as a coach is share a weekend with so many guys that have played at the school. I didn't go to school here. So I continue to learn about this program and the history and the good, the bad, and the indifferent, like I said earlier, about our team, but about our program every day and every year. And no one can tell you, no one can express those things better, just like education. Okay, let's talk about public school education. I'm sorry, you gave me a question that threw my mind. This was the same thing. You got a lot of people that got 9 degrees and sit in offices, yet never taught a single day in a public school. But they've got opinions on what works in education. I like kind of dealing with the people who actually spent 20 years in a classroom in a public school as better than the intelligent people in suits that work behind a computer. And same thing. You know, you can hear all the stuff about everyone around the program as to what's been good or bad over the course of the years. No one tells you the truth better than the guys that actually lived it. And that's what's been fun for me. I mean, think about this. I'm like a non-playing son of immigrant in Miami, Florida, where basketball didn't even exist in the 80s outside of high school, okay? I call Alex English a friend now. Are you kidding me? You know, and I use his name because of obviously his celebrity status as to what he's accomplished in his career. But the same can be said about Gary Greger and just numerous great players, and some of which no one's ever heard of. Kerry Rich didn't sniff the NBA. Kerry Rich is an incredible human being, and he knows this program as well as anyone that's ever been around this. And me being able to call these guys friends and be able to call on them to walk me through things that I'm trying to build within the confines of our campus, and letting them know how important they are by bringing them back and letting them coexist and share, I think it's an awesome thing. And then as far as our players go, that's important to me, that our players comprehend, because some of those guys will start talking with our players and they tell them like how they used to travel, what their locker room looked like, their pregame meals, what it consisted of, their postgame meals, what it consisted of, which most of it was air, and makes our players, when I tell our guys, like, you got to make this place better, man. They made it better for you. You got to make it better for the next one. And there's a sense of responsibility there, which I think is tremendous.
Kind of touched on Alex already, but he obviously got his jersey retired by Dreer over the weekend. Just how nice was that to see? And you've talked a lot about Alex being an influence in the program. Just what does he mean to you and this program as a whole?
He loves Carolina, loves Columbia. He's lived in all kinds of different cities around the world. Yet he chooses to be a part of everything that's going on here in this community, on this campus. He's one of the wonderful people in the game of basketball. He knows the game. I mean, you're not one of the top 50 of all time and a Hall of Famer if you don't know the game. You don't keep a job in coaching for as many years as he did if you don't know the game. And he loves coming to practice. I know this. I don't pretend to know the game anywhere near him. When I go recruit and I go watch a ball practice, 10 minutes in, that ball practice is no good. I can't wait to get out of there. And you're probably going to be hard-pressed to convince me to go back to that school to go watch practice again. You're probably going to be hard-pressed to convince me to go recruit that guy. Guys that know the game, they're not going to sit and watch bad ball practice. And it's one of the things I'm fortunate to have here is a guy like Alex English, who's retired, lives in the community. He's at practice. I don't know, if we practice 4 times in a week, he's probably at 2 of them, sometimes 3 of them. And then my staff get to pick his brain. He doesn't try to force his thoughts on what we do, but my staff picks his brain. And I'll walk over to him every once in a while and I'll ask him about ball screen coverages, because everyone ball screens us so much that I can't be our base has to be vanilla, but I can't keep it so vanilla that people that have coached against us, I've been here 8 years now, 16 times, attack us differently, and I'm still guarding it, the way I used to. And so having him as a resource is incredible. And the part that personally, professionally makes me feel good is that he loves coming to see us practice. That tells me that whatever the heck we're trying to do makes sense. So we got to keep getting better. But calling him a friend and his willingness to be around our players and share with our players and share with our coaches, and then being able to be a part of that moment, NBA, college, and now high school. It's got the trifecta, man. It's that was a great thing. And by the way, the athletic director there, Jeff DiBattisto, great Gamecock, who's the one that organized that whole retirement of his jersey. A lot of credit to Jeff for doing what was right, because Alex is just a tremendous, and one of his best friends is my next door neighbor. So I've learned a lot of good stories about Alex. So he's been forced to make me a friend because I got the stories on him now. Thank you.